My brother and I found 2 baby snakes. The black one latched onto his wrist instantly. The little white snake was barely breathing. I felt bad for the white one, so I took it home and nursed it back to health. The black snake turned human in just 1 year. Not only was she gorgeous, she treated my brother like royalty. Meanwhile, I was out hustling to feed myself and little white. I was way past marriage age, but because I was always carrying this useless snake, every woman rejected me. They all said they'd marry me if I ditched the snake. I kicked them all out. I stroked its head, saying, "Even if you never transform, I'll never abandon you. I chose you, and I'm responsible for life." But when the flood hit, that dying white snake transformed into a dragon overnight. I desperately grabbed for its tail in the flood, but it only pulled my brother to safety. Turns out it had its eyes on my brother from the start. Turns out it learned to transform way before the black snake. When I opened my eyes again, holding the dying white snake, I threw it away without hesitation. My brother said, "Look at this little white snake. Top tier quality. It'll definitely ascend someday. It could take you to heaven, you know?" 10 years ago, Uncle Wang from next village found one just like this. Same kind as yours. When that snake ascended, it took Uncle Wang with it. When you're successful someday, don't forget your big brother. My brother placed the white snake in my palm, but the villagers passing by got concerned. "Yanzi, you're too kind." Everyone knows white snakes transform easier than black ones. Muye isn't as steady and reliable as you, and he doesn't have your looks either. No matter how you look at it, you're the better choice. A flash of hurt crossed my brother's face, then he forced a smile. "It's okay, I'm the older brother. I should look after my little brother." I frowned in annoyance. Anyone looking closely could see the white snake was barely alive, but the black snake's eyes were sharp and alert. The villagers might not know, but my brother definitely did. This was the one most likely to ascend. In my past life, I didn't call him out. Because little white was covered in blood, I couldn't bear to abandon it. But now looking at this white snake, baring its fangs at me, I just found it pathetic. I threw little white straight onto a rock. I grabbed my basket and walked away. My brother cried out and frantically scooped up the white snake. "How could you do that?" "It's a life." I said, "Life has its destiny. If it's meant to die here today, that's its fate." "Muye, you're too cold-hearted." "Are you really just gonna watch it die? Right in front of you?" The villagers started pointing fingers at me. "He's heartless, that one. Our Yanzi is the one with a good heart. Now look at this brother. Throw him in a crowd and you'd lose him forever. His heart's just as ugly." I laughed. "Since you're so kind, brother, why don't you take both snakes?" My brother froze. He avoided eye contact. This kind of premium quality. How could I keep it all to myself? "It's fine, take them both. I'm not riding your coattails." My brother was speechless. Little White's badly hurt. Healing it would cost a fortune. The villagers shot me disgusted looks. "Your brother has no luck. Looks like this treasure was meant for you." "Yanzi, stop thinking about that ungrateful brat. Don't give it to him." Suddenly, a white flash. A woman in white appeared like a goddess. A trace of blood at the corner of her mouth made her breathtaking beauty even more shocking. People held their breath. I froze too. Little White had transformed. I clenched my fists. I thought it learned to transform after I saved it. But it knew how from the very beginning. All these years, it just watched as I got mocked for carrying around a useless snake. It never did a thing. But now, in its weakest state, it could force itself to transform for my brother. Injuries don't matter. I'll take care of it. If it can transform, ascension can't be far off. The villagers were stunned speechless by her beauty. Seeing me standing there frozen, my brother casually stepped in front of Little White. "Since you insisted you didn't want it, and I tried to convince you but you wouldn't listen, I guess I'll have to take her back." Yanzi said, "You don't need to explain. He said he'd give it to you. If he backs out now, we all despise him." My brother blushed. "Don't say that. My brother's not like that." I stared coldly at Little White, and she stared right back through the crowd. That wasn't the look of a first meeting. I understood. She'd been reborn too. But I turned and walked away without a second thought. Confusion flashed in her eyes. Later, the whole village was talking about how I'd missed out on the snake of a lifetime. Little White's beauty had everyone worshipping her. Everyone said she'd ascend for sure. They mocked me for being blind. They praised my brother for his good karma. Everyone thought I'd regret it, that I'd start sucking up to Little White. But to everyone's shock, I never looked at her once after going back. Finally, when we passed each other yet again, Little White grabbed my wrist. She frowned at me, saying nothing. Her eyes looked almost displeased, like she was asking why, in this life, I wasn't fawning over her anymore. I shoved her hand off. Then I cursed under my breath and went back to my room. Little White looked down at her hand, then at my retreating figure. Her eyes glistened red. That night, when I went to get water, I heard whispering from the corner room. "Subordinate, if you have regrets about the second young master, why not become his spirit companion instead?" I peeked through the door crack. Little White stood in white robes. "Since I've been reborn, I must make up for my regrets. Subordinate, but didn't your sister choose the eldest first?" Little White said, "So what? I came back to this life for him. Nothing will stop me from being with him. Not even my sister, I won't back down." It hurt to hear. But after 2 steps, I heard the subordinate ask, "May I dare to ask, why your excellency is so devoted to a mortal man?" Little White's eyes softened in the moonlight. "When I fell at Phoenix Bay, I'll never forget. He held me in his hands and watched over me for 49 days. Without him, I would have failed my tribulation and turned to bones." I stopped cold, my hands trembling uncontrollably. Wasn't that where I saved a different white snake? I watched over it for 49 days, and only when it got better did I carry my gathered herbs back to the village. I never told anyone about this. So that little white snake and Little White were the same one. I couldn't help but laugh coldly. Little White, you're such an idiot. But I wasn't planning to claim any credit. In this new life, I had different goals. After that, I went out herb gathering way less. I spent most of my time holed up reading books. Until the annual flower festival, when my brother dragged me out of my room by force. It's the once-a-year flower festival! If you don't join, the flower goddess won't bless you next year. I said, the flower goddess can bless me. I glanced back at my worn-out copy of the talent registry, thought about it, and finally nodded. My brother said, I got you some clothes. Throw out all those old rags. For the flower festival, you gotta dress nice. He handed me a bag. I opened it, and found these so-called nice clothes were bright red with green patterns, red and green clashing together, made plain-looking me look even tackier. But when I went to find my other clothes, they were all gone. With no choice, I put on the outfit and went out to find food. The moment I stepped outside, I ran into my brother in fancy clothes, hanging with his buddies. Someone gasped, "Oh my God, does he actually think that looks good? Ugly people do weird things." You can tell, he's really trying to match the flower festival theme. Is he trying to steal the spotlight from our Yanzi with this? Ha ha ha. Well, he succeeded. Just in the ugliest way possible, dead. Yanzi's fabric was custom made by that white snake lady, you know, and he thinks his tacky outfit compares? Guys, stop! My brother's eyes turned red. Brother, how could you come out dressed like that? It's my fault. I didn't think it through. His eyes welled up. The crowd immediately rushed to comfort Yanzi. It's not your fault. He just can't pull off the clothes. You even prepared new clothes for him. Where would he find a better brother? If you wore those same clothes, you'd look godlike. So stop blaming yourself. I don't believe he only had this one outfit. Bottom line, it was his choice, not yours. My brother wiped his eyes, but I'm still his big brother. Seeing him like this, how can I feel okay? I said, you done with your little act? That one line froze everyone. I walked up to one of his buddies. This guy just said, he doesn't believe I only had one outfit. So big brother, you want to tell him where all my clothes went? My brother went speechless. In the past, I would have just walked away instead of dealing with this nonsense. But this time, I wasn't letting my brother off the hook. I stared at his fancy outfit. Nice fabric. Even if that snake gave it to you, I'm sure you had a hand in designing it. So if your taste is this good, why'd you pick this garbage for me? My brother covered his mouth. Brother, you're accusing me? I said, stop playing the victim. If you're really innocent, let's all go to your room right now and see if you hid my clothes. I turned to lead the group back. My brother's face went pale. He grabbed me in panic, but I shoved him off. He yelled, whether I hid them or not, what you're doing is tearing us apart. I said, we'll see after we check. Just as I reached the door, my wrist suddenly stung. I looked down. Snake fang marks. Suddenly I lost control and blurted out, what's wrong with the red outfit? I look better than him. I just want everyone to know he's hideous. I don't believe that even after I threw the clothes in his room, you'll still protect him. I slapped my hand over my mouth. Everyone's eyes changed. I knew it. You were scheming the whole time. One of my brother's friends slapped me across the face. Everyone swarmed me, slapping and tearing at my clothes. You should be grateful you even got clothes. And you're still picky. You don't deserve anything Yanzi prepared for you. I got roughed up bad, so I ran. Before I left, I saw Little White appear beside my brother. She looked at me coldly while my brother looked smug. Remembering that white flash at my wrist, I clenched my jaw. While I was recovering at home, Little White actually came to my room. I knocked the medicine out of her hand. She gave me this complicated look, then picked up the pill, grabbed my jaw, and forced the medicine down my throat. Spit it out, and you'll die. Looking at her threatening eyes, I gritted my teeth and swallowed. At least I stopped talking nonsense. She waited a bit longer, made sure I had no other symptoms, then turned to leave. At the door, she suddenly paused. You really have nothing to say to me? She definitely knew. I'd been reborn too. Since my rebirth, I hadn't said a word to her. I closed my eyes and said nothing. She gave me one last look before closing the door. After that, every time I went outside, people straight up called me a manipulator, so I disappeared for a while. Everyone said I couldn't handle living in the village anymore. But not long after, I came back. When I returned, my brother patted my shoulder.